Hello and welcome to all you beautiful sky watchers out there. Here comes the waning half moon. It's a last quarter moon in Virgo, happening on December 16th of 2022. This is in the sign of the Virgin. This Virgo waning half moon will be occurring in lunar mansion number 14, being the sheaf of wheat of Virgo, which Agrippa reveals as being the spike of Virgo, or the flying spike. In this work that he did, it's called 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. Okay, that's what Agrippa, how he reveals that it's named in the ancient times. Now, dwelling in this mansion of the moon, residing in Virgo's wheat sheaf, is an opportunity to get rid of relationships that are only being held together by jealousy or greed, thus allowing love to find a way into the lives of those so in need. Star magic sorceresses and sorcerers also utilize this mansion to profit the properties and riches of people that hold high positions in society. Virgo's sheaf of wheat is favorable for married couples and is good for acquiring therapeutic remedies for ailments. Now, we will be giving you the names of angels and lords, as well as images or icons which you can use as magical talismans to gain more wealth, more fidelity, and more health. Now, these images and methods are ancient secrets that creators of advertisements, movies, television shows, plays, paintings, and social media use to conjure responses from audiences. And this has been going on again since ancient times. It's nothing new. And religions are based upon this. All religions are based on astrology. Even if you think about it, even science, a lot of it is based on astrology. Now, we want to help you draw upon these images to your benefit instead of having these types of icons used against you or without your knowledge. Think about it. Just think about it. In astrology, you have a chart, okay? And you want to find out if the person has Cancer in their chart. So I'm not saying that the sciences didn't take off in their own directions, but they all started with astrology and the stars. And these concepts are embedded into our minds, okay? Do you understand? And it's through symbols and suggestion that all reality is created, because we manifest it through our consciousness, okay? And the sign of Cancer is a sign that rules the breaths, okay? It's a sign of motherhood, and the moon rules Cancer, okay? Therefore, by taking the sign of Cancer and making it into a disease, what more modern academia have done is they've taken the concept of motherhood and a woman's ability to nurture, and especially her ability to feed her children, okay? They've taken that and made it something evil, something to be feared, and something to be despised, and turned it into a disease. Motherhood is not a disease. Breastfeeding is not a disease. It's not something that's evil, okay? And this is what has been pushed. Various religions push this, and various sciences are pushing it, as you know. And it has the result of causing women to despise their own bodies, to despise their own role in society, to despise motherhood, to despise their own breasts. And it's caused a lot of people to really have very difficult times feeling comfortable in their own skin, especially women, okay? Therefore, what needs to be done is the word Cancer needs to be reclaimed, okay? It needs to be reclaimed. They need to stop calling that disease Cancer. They need to call it something else that doesn't cause a whole group, half of society to be despised and to despise themselves, okay? And before I get off my soapbox, I want to say one thing. I've known some male astrologers that have told women, okay, who would have been the best mothers in the world, that because they had certain planets in the sign of Cancer that they should not have children. And those women listened to them, and those would have been the best mothers, okay? That's what the males have done. We need to understand this, and it needs to be fixed because it's not getting better. And when we tell them about it, what do? They just do it more. We tell them about it, we tell them it's a problem, and they just do it more. And they tell us words we can't say, but then they just push that more, okay? So this is my soapbox. I'll get off of it. I'm not a Cancer sign. That's not my sign. I'm a Leo, okay? But even my moon is in Leo. I'm my sun, okay? But nevertheless, I have had a lot of clients that came to me for psychic readings, okay? That were the sign of Cancer, and they all, and even the men, that made them have very poor self-esteem. It caused a lot of problems, okay? Okay? And there's something that happens, and there's certain professions, okay, where shocking people, like certain sales professions and things like that, where shocking people is important. So they tell the people that run it, the salespeople, tell the people that are, trying to sell something that you should tell people your sign is Cancer, okay? It'll scare them. They don't tell them why, but the reason is because it scares people, and it makes the person seem more shocking to them, and then it's easier to sell, okay? It's easier to sell that person and easier to control the person. So the person that's a salesperson is telling a client or a customer that their sign is Cancer, okay? And then the person gets kind of scared, but it makes them sort of in awe of the person that says that they're the sign of Cancer. And the people that are doing that, they may or may not be the sign of Cancer, but they're told to do it, and they don't even probably know why, okay? And remember, sign Cancer, it rhymes with answer. It rhymes with some other things too. So understand what they're doing, okay? Because what happens is it projects them onto their client. That's what their goal is. And the main thing is fear. That's it. It's fear. When you create fear, you create respect, and you create a need in someone to want to help the person that they think has something wrong with them. It makes them feel sorry for the person. You understand. It's like telling somebody that you're poor or something, or that that you have something wrong with you. It makes the person have sympathy for the person, which makes them, want to buy whatever the person is selling even more, or watch their video even more, or whatever, okay? So don't fall for these things. It's being used, and every time I bring it up, it gets used more and more. Every time we tell people this is hurting people, they don't care. They just do it more. These are the same people that are telling us that we can't use this word, we can't use that word, but when we tell them about this, they just do it more. And Aleister Crowley said that, I'll paraphrase because I don't remember the exact quote, but if you just do something and your will, and you have no apprehension about it, then no one's going to tell you no, okay? The strength of your will, according to Crowley, is going to determine whether or not you're going to be able to do something. Because other people are always going to say no. No, you can't do that. You're not capable of that. You're not good enough to do that. You're not rich enough. You're not talented enough. Whatever. Okay. But ultimately, if you have no fear and no guilt, and you just push your will forward with what you want to do in life, if you don't have any apprehension, no one's going to tell you no. Remember, any little tiny bit of fear or guilt will cause you to have problems. But if you don't have fear and guilt, but you have to have none. And then you can, and most people have some fear and guilt just because we've been brought up with religions and societal roles that make us feel guilty just for existing, So if you have any fear and guilt, you're going to have a problem. But you understand how it works, okay? So you understand. So now moving along, I said I'd get off my soapbox, so I'll get off of it. Okay, so the reason that we're trying to give you all this information about these lunar mansions is because we want to help you to be able to draw upon these images to your benefit, okay? Instead of having these types of icons used against you without your knowledge, because that's what's being done. And it's been being done since day one, okay? So since well before Adam, okay? Because Adam wasn't the first man. He was just the first man that got a certain book given to him by an angel, okay? By Ratziel. Okay, and now, here are your weekly mansions of the moon signs horoscopes from December 16th to December 22nd, 2022. The mansions of the moon signs, the waning half moon in Virgo happens at 8:56 a.m. on December 16th. We have a waning crescent moon, December 7th to the 17th, December 17th to the 22nd. And this is with Luna transiting through Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. We're using tropical astrology and we're using universal time coordinated. Now use receptive imaginings, pictures, films, advertising, or magic during a waning half or crescent moon. Okay? Now, this is when you will notice that events come towards you. Okay? They're going to come at you rather than you actively doing your will out this way. So there's a time to do your will and a time to receive what the will that you've put out for yourself. It's about projecting what you want for yourself and receiving it. Like you make a sigil for yourself, and then during the waxing moon and the waning moon, you look at it. That kind of thing. If you're a magician, you understand. Or if you're people that are into those things like The Secret, on the waxing moon, you make your image, and the lunar mansions are the real secret of that, because this is where they come from and when you're supposed to do it and how you're supposed to do it and all of that. Okay. So when the moon is waxing, okay, that's when you want to gather the picture, find it, create it, draw it, put it on your computer screen, hang it up in your house actively, okay? Locate it, put it up in your house, whatever, okay? Then on the waning moon, you want to look at it. That's the way it works, okay? So some people just don't want to have to think that hard, but the more precise you are, the more strong your magic. And it does work. It works strong. Now, as far as doing it 2 or 4 other people, lunar mansion magic comes back on you quickly. So make sure that what you're doing you want done to you. And if you are going to be someone that's going to do it in a way that you think you can do something to somebody else but it won't come back, again, you cannot have one little tiny subatomic particle of guilt or fear. No apprehension at all, otherwise it will snap back at you. That's the way it works. If you really don't have any fear, and you really don't have any guilt, not any, Crowley said your will be done, okay? And that's why some people get away with all kinds of horrible things, and some people can't get away, even when they're not doing anything wrong, they get in trouble. It's all the way you've been sort of socialized, yeah? That's why psychopaths, can get away with stuff. And it's only until they start feeling guilty or whatever that they get caught. That's the way this stuff works. I'm not condoning anything, obviously. I'm not condoning that you hurt people. I don't want to hurt people. That's not my goal in life. But I understand there's some people that are into that, okay? I'm not stupid. I know there's people that like to do harmful magic to people just for the power of being able to see that they can get away with it, okay? Or they're mad at somebody, or they want revenge. It's not my cup of tea. Doing that stuff, it's not my cup of tea. It's not the way I was brought up. It won't work for me because I have too much of a conscience to be able to get away with stuff like that, okay? But I'm just telling you how it actually works. I'm telling you objectively, because magic is a science. It's the first science, okay? I'm telling you how it works. Science and magic are the same thing. They just took a word and it's the same thing, and they changed the word, and they told you the other word meant something stupid, and made you think that, so that anybody says it, you think is doing something stupid. It's not like that, okay? And when you study the lunar mansion magic, you'll understand that, okay? There's a lot of science in it. And alchemy is a science, okay? All right, so again, when the moon is waning during this waning moon that we're talking about, it's because it's a waning half and a waning crescent. That's when you want to have absorb what you've created for yourself, okay? That kind of thing. And during this time, when you're watching television or you're watching your computer screen or you're watching, whatever, looking at social media images or watching YouTube videos or things on Twitter, whatever you're doing, okay? You're going to be absorbing what they're throwing out at you. And this is what they're going to be throwing out at you, okay? Because they do it in videos. They do it in YouTube videos. They just use phrases sometimes. But it's the same thing. Okay, so when you'll notice that again, when you use the sigils or the pictures or the icons, or even if you listen, okay, you might be listening to those kind of, you know, we used to listen to tapes. Now people listen to, you know, those YouTube videos that people make, and you can plug those in, or they make podcasts, and you can listen to like things that tell you that you're going to get rich, or you're going to be healthy, or you're going to be, you know, successful, whatever, those kind of things, those self-help things. Those are the kind of things you want to make before, when it's waxing, and then when it's waning, you want to receive it from someone else or from yourself. Just make sure that you listen to it when you're conscious, so you know what they're saying, so you're not absorbing something that's going to be bad for you, okay? Make sure you listen to it, because sometimes you don't want them to sneak something in there that's not good for you. You want to listen to it when you're awake, if you're listening to stuff when you sleep. Okay, so in other words, have things pre-made. When Luna is in a, you know, you made it when Luna was increasing in her light, and then you listen to it when she's decreasing in her light, that kind of thing. Okay, so on with the show. Here is your daily lunar mansion magic, and this is your magic angels and the lords, and this is your astrology guidance for December 16th through to December 22nd. Okay, December 16th, we have Virgo waning half moon happening at 8:56 a.m. That's 08:56 hours in lunar mansion number 14, dwelling from the latter mid portion to the end of the Virgin, according, you know, that's according to Abraham. And this is almost 12 hours before a waning crescent moon moves into lunar mansion number 15, abiding in the beginning portion of Libra at 1948 hours. Now, I'm talking about Abraham from Agrippa's book, from 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. Now, firstly, at the Virgo waning half moon in lunar mansion number 14, find healing of ailments and cures for sicknesses, favors married couples. It's good for voyaging on the water, bad for journeys upon the land. Now beware the image of a dog chasing and biting his tail, for it causes divorce and separation of the man from the woman. From Virgo's ear of corn in the constellation of Virgo the Virgin, with lunar angel Ergediel and Lord Erdegal. An example of this is in the TV sitcom Frasier. It's the 2001 episode 3 of season 9. It's called The First Temptation of Daphne. They use this lunar mansion throughout this episode. Okay? It's written by David Angel, Peter Casey, and David Lee. It's directed by Kelsey Grammer. It uses lunar mansion number 14 in a scene where actor John Mahoney, portraying character Martin Crane, watches dog actor Enzo, playing character Eddie, Martin's pet Russell Terrier, chasing and biting at his own tail. Okay, it's very cute. Now, in this episode, actor David Hyde Pierce, depicting the character Dr. Niles Crane, has a serious argument with his new wife, Daphne Moon Crane, portrayed by actress Jane Leeves, and the two of them are present in the same room when Eddie runs in a circle, chasing and biting his own tail. Okay? Dr. Niles Crane is a psychiatrist that brings home some of his patients' files in his briefcase, where Daphne unintentionally finds a patient chart which reveals that one of her husband's female patients is in love with him. Okay? Now the couple gets into a prolonged disagreement. Okay? They get into a prolonged argument. They sort of start arguing over this because Daphne becomes obsessed, okay, with wanting to know everything about what she perceives to be her sort of competition for Niles' affection. Okay, now Niles explains to Daphne that he cannot disclose confidential patient information to her. Okay, now spoiler alert. Okay, Daphne then takes matters into her own hands. So spoiler alert. Okay, you want to click on the next one. In the description box, you can go to the next day if you don't want to hear this. Okay, spoiler alert. Okay, Daphne then takes matters into her own hands and goes on a quest to meet the woman she fears might steal her husband away from her. Okay, now since Niles' expertise is in solving these sorts of relationship dilemmas, okay, this mansion's ability to favor marriages is able to overcome and kind of fix the mansion's traditional image of a dog chasing and biting his tail that could have otherwise broken them up. So within the mansion is also sort of the, within the mansion is also sort of the, is also sort of the way to fix it. Okay, also the way to fix the problem. Now, secondly, on the 16th, okay, we have Libra waning crescent moon in lunar mansion number 15. Find profit from finding and obtaining the hidden riches, the excavation of burrows. It's excellent for legal separations. If you're trying to get a divorce, this mansion helps you do it, okay? And powerful for causing conflict. Also valuable for annihilation of dwellings, eradication of opponents, though terrible to go on voyages. Use the image of a woman or a man or yourself sitting and drawing letters on a parchment or a paper. So writing letters, writing letters, okay? For this representation creates familiarity, alliance, support, and friendliness. From one that is cloaked or covered while flying. In the constellation of Libra scales, pointer star in Virgo though, with lunar angel Ataliel and Lord Achalich. Now, not only did the Klingon warbirds, not only can they cloak themselves while flying, but also, okay, also in the movie Inglourious Bastards in 2009, Quentin Tarantino, writer and director, one of his movies, uses lunar mansion number 15 in this film's opening scene, okay, where actor Christopher Waltz, portraying Nazi Colonel Hans Landa, is shown writing in a book with a pen to keep a log for an inspection of homes of which he is in charge to locate Jews during the Nazi occupation of France in World War II. Okay, now use of lunar mansion number 15 makes the character Colonel Hans Landa both compelling, okay, and likable to the audience, even though he is depicting a Nazi hunting Jews. Okay, now adding to his appeal is a scene that immensely, you know, it's very intense, and it happens right after the opening one where he's writing. And this is another one where Colonel Hans Landa instructs his men to shoot their weapons into the wood floor of the house, where he's investigating, you know, if there's any Jews in there. Consequently, ferrets out actress Melanie Laurent. Melanie Laurent, that's the actress, portraying character Shoshana, a Jewish woman hiding under the floorboards of the house, and for some inexplicable reason, he allows her to escape. He says, poopsie, and he doesn't shoot her. He allows her to get away. So they very successfully, and I would imagine Quentin Tarantino, you know, most likely knows about the lunar mansions. I imagine he does. You never know who in the production really knows about the lunar mansions. You never know. I would imagine that someone like Kelsey Grammer knows about him and Frasier, and I would sort of imagine that Quentin Tarantino knows about him and Inglourious Bastards, because it works so well, okay? Because not only do you start liking Hans Landa, Colonel Landa more because he's writing and he's so elegant, but also because he lets Shoshana get away. So you start sort of having a little bit of a soft spot for him, and he still gets, you know, he still has to pay for his, you know, war crimes in the movie that he does, but nevertheless, like I should have said spoiler alert, but nevertheless, you have a soft spot in your heart for Colonel Hans Landa. Okay, one of my favorite actors, Christopher Waltz. Now, December 17th, Libra, waning crescent moon and lunar mansion, and this is number 16 at 20:09 hours. Being mindful of encumbrances or obstacles when going on a journey, getting married, doing business, or reaping crops or rewards. If you're reaping rewards, you can get financial rewards too, like if you're getting them out of investments or something like that. Though this mansion is good for vindicating confined people, it's good to use a picture of a man sitting on a chair while grasping a weight, balance, or pair of scales in his hand, for it causes abundance of sales of goods and promotions and displays. From the horns of Scorpio, which used to be part of a larger astrological scorpion in the more modern constellation of Libra, the scales of lunar angel Azaruel, Agrippa, and Azaruel, Warnock, and Lord Azaruch. So Warnock spelling one letter different from Agrippa's spelling, an E and A. Choose which you like best. And again, the description box, if you want to see how all this stuff is spelled, you can check it out check it out in the description box, and it will be, you know, easy for you to see where the discrepancies are. Now, an example of lunar mansion number 16 is in the movie Atlantis, The Lost Continent, a 1961 science fiction adventure fantasy movie directed by George Pal, original play written by Gerald Hargreaves, entitled Atlanta, A Story of Atlantis, with screenplay by Daniel Mainwaring, depicts lunar mansion number 16 in a scene of the film where actress Joyce Taylor, portraying character Princess Antilia, is getting in a boat with actor Saul Ponti, portraying character Demetrios. Princess Antilia is holding a primitive compass made out of a seashell. I think it was an abalone shell. I used to have an abalone shell when I was a little girl. I used to love the abalone shell. Okay, so she has a compass that she has floating in a water in the seashell, the abalone shell, and in the water. Okay, and then she has a magnet to help the lovers on their long sea voyage from Demetrios' home of Greece to Princess Antilia's abode of Atlantis. So they're using this sort of measuring device. That's this mansion, okay? Now, Princess Antilia promises Demetrios that he will be richly rewarded, okay, by her father, King Kronos, depicted by actor Edgar Stelly, for attending her back to her homeland. So she wants Demetrios to help her. Now, the man that King Kronos wants to marry his daughter, the princess, is Zarin, depicted by actor John Dahl. Now, Zarin enslaves Demetrios, the Greek god that was helping Princess Antilia, okay? And Zarin enslaves Demetrios to hard labor, okay? Mining powerful crystals due to his jealousy over Princess Antilia. Now, Demetrios then leads a slave uprising and undergoes tests of merit, strength, and bravery. And more on that later, because what you'll find out is what they do in movies is they take a section of, they take several lunar mansions in order, and they stick them in their movie. And that's why in movies, it goes right down the line most of the time. Bada bing, bada boom, you can see the lunar mansions right down the line. And that's why sometimes in movies, it seems like they're doing crazy stuff. That's because they got to fit the lunar mansions into the movie. Okay? Now, and it's the most powerful form of magic there is. Okay? Because images are the most powerful form of magic there is. Okay? And the way movies, that's why they call it movie magic. And that's why it so affects us. My dad used to say, that's only a movie. That's not true. It guides our very lives, and it imprints upon us our very experiences. December 18th, we have a Libra, waning crescent moon to Scorpio moon, and lunar mansion number 17 at 1947 hours, valuable to turn unfortunate events into fortunate ones. It causes romance and love to become strong and powerfully felt, strengthens structures, and is lucky for sailors. Use a picture or a figurine of a primate, monkey, or gorilla to guard yourself and those you care for against burglars, muggers, and intruders. From the crown of Scorpio, when the astrological Scorpion was larger, being at 60 degrees instead of 30 degrees, the stars of this mansion now span from the end of the constellation of Libra, the scale, to the beginning of the constellation of the modern Scorpio, the Scorpion, with lunar angel Adriel and Lord Adrieb. We're moving along now to December 19th. We have a Scorpio waning crescent moon in lunar mansion number 18 at 1840 hours. Find freedom if you are a captive. A good day to strengthen your edifices. Take heed of revenge from enemies. A transit full of threats, menace, dissension, uprisings, and schemes against monarch and powerful people. Use a picture of a figurine of a snake holding its tail above its head to stave off fevers and stomach upsets. From the heart of the Scorpion in the constellation of Scorpio, the Scorpion, with lunar angel Egibiel and Lord Egrabel. An example of this is in Sukiyaki Western Django movie. A 2007 Quentin Tarantino movie. It's a Japanese-style spaghetti Western film where lunar mansion number 18 and mansion of the moon angel Egibiel represents in the opening scene where a snake and an egg are shown, and the snake is slithering down a hill, thereby his tail is above the head because he's going down head first down the hill. Okay, so again, during this mansion, you need to turn those "don't tread on me" flags upside down, because otherwise you'll push yourself too hard and you'll make yourself sick. When this mansion starts showing up, people push themselves too hard. They have to back off, or people will get, stomach upsets and fevers. You got to back off when this mansion's coming up, okay? Okay. Because again, we tend to push too hard during this mansion. And this scene from this Sukiyaki Western Django, this opening scene is on YouTube. So go just type in Sukiyaki Western Django opening scene and you'll see it. You'll see the snake slithering down with his tail above his head. Okay? Now, December 20th, Scorpio waning crescent moon to Sagittarius moon and lunar mansion number 19. Okay, we have at 16:48 hours is when this mansion begins. Find successful hunting and plowing of fields, profitable for pillaging urban centers and making war. A transit that causes sorrow, devastation, defeat, and displacement. Use a picture or figurine of a woman holding her hands upon her face and covering her eyes to induce birthing a child or to cause a woman's blood moon to begin. From the tail of the scorpion and the constellation of Scorpio, the scorpion, spanning to the beginning of Sagittarius, with lunar angel Amutiel and Lord Anusel. Another example of this lunar mansion's use is in, again, Atlantis, that we mentioned earlier, the lost continent in 1961. Okay, now we're gonna cut to the chase, because we already mentioned all the particulars of the writing and the directing and all of that. Okay, let me cut to the chase now. Now, this is where lunar mansion number 19 is used. Okay, after the other one we mentioned. Okay, in a scene of the film where character Zarin, okay, again, that's John Dahl, the actor, and his cronies, okay, Zarin and his cronies, the other leaders of Atlantis, okay, decide to go to war to make sure that Atlantis continues to be a supreme authority in the known world. Atlantean scientists have created a powerful crystal which shoots a death ray that can be used to destroy ships, cities, and entire populations of people, causing ruin. So this mansion is well depicted in this movie. Okay? So you see how it just go right down the line and then plug it right in. If you are someone who wants to write for movies or television or commercials or make YouTube videos, check these things out. You can do it too, okay? And understand how it's used. And everybody uses it. It's all over the media. And within the mansion is also a way to fix whatever problem. And remember, one person's antichrist is another person's savior. One person's horrible war criminal is another person's wonderful savior and hero, war hero, okay? So it's all whatever's convenient to the person that's the one who's finding out what's going on, the one who's looking upon the thing, okay? So just understand that. And don't just assume that they're all evil. It's not all evil. This is life, okay? You can't have black without white. You can't have good without bad. You can't have night without day. You just can't. You have to have two opposites and then interplay between the two for anything to be able to exist. Otherwise, nothing would exist and nobody would be conscious to enjoy anything. Okay? So just understand that and use your common sense and make it work for you. Now, December 21st, we have a Sagittarius waning crescent moon in lunar mansion number 20. At 14:18 hours, a transit advantageous for the taming of feral animals and the strengthening of the cages in which you keep them. Also, a profitable mansion in which to annihilate the riches of cronies and acquaintances. Also forces a person to arrive at a prearranged location. Use a depiction of a half man, half horse, also named a Sagittarius or a centaur, to guarantee the success of a hunting party. From the crossbar of the bow and arrow of the Sagittarius in the constellation of Sagittarius the Archer with lunar angel Kyriel and Lord Quahuk. An example of this, again, Atlantis, the 1961, I'll cut to the chase, uses lunar mansion number 20, see, bada bing, bada boom, right down the line. In a scene of the film where actor Saul Ponti portraying Demetrios is being turned into a half man, half animal to be tamed and used for heavy labor, okay? An Atlantean pre-scientist is using a crystal and a sound device in the scene to transform Demetrios. This mansion's factor of causing a man to arrive at a specific destination interrupts the pre-scientist working on Demetrios, in that he gets a message that Demetrios must go to be involved in a test of fire and water to either be killed or gain his freedom. Kind of like the gladiators, but Atlantis was before Rome. So this is sort of where the gladiatorial games came from the Atlantean test of strength, where you get either get killed or the freedom. Same thing. All right. Now for December 22nd, Sagittarius waning crescent moon in lunar mansion number 21 at 11:15 hours, profitable for reaping of crops and herds. Going on journeys, it's awful for relationships. It causes the separation and malevolence, okay? It can cause divorce. Now beware the picture or statue of a man with two faces, one looking to the right, one looking to the left, for this icon causes the annihilation of someone chosen by the magician, okay? That's the Janus symbol, the Roman god of doorways. It's not always used for evil, but it can be, okay? Now this is from the desert of Sagittarius, the archer with lunar angel Bethnael and Lord Bethtu. Now I'm going to just give you some of the important books that I think you must have if you're going to do any kind of lunar mansion magic, especially if you want to write about it or do magic or anything like that, or live your life by it like I do. Okay? First, Picatrix, attributed to the Islamic scientist and astroscientist. He had a whole bunch of other sciences that he was proficient in, listed with his name. The author of this Picatrix work attributed to Maslama al-Majriti. Now, and second book is 3 Books of Occult Philosophy by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. That was written in the 1500s, okay? Now, also, third book, The Mansions of the Moon, a lunar zodiac for astrology and magic, with ephemeris that goes to 2033, written by Christopher Warnock, published by Renaissance Astrology. The 3 Books of Occult Philosophy I have is published by Llewellyn, and that particular edition, that particular book, was edited and annotated by Donald Tyson, which I have a whole bunch of his books. One of them is the New Magus, which shows you how to use magic, not on a Kabbalah based on the sun, but on a Kabbalah based on Mercury. Very fascinating. And another book called Tetragrammaton. That is if you are into at all studying about the 4-letter name of God or the Tetragrammaton or any of that, you got to have that book. The Tetragrammaton, it's so important. Okay, I'm going to give you a little secret here. The 4 letters of God, it's your DNA. Okay, it's your DNA. That's what the 4 letters are. That's what it is. Okay? And the 4-letter words that you're not allowed to say, the way you send your DNA to somebody else, that's another 4-letter word example, okay? Understand that. All these things are based on simple science. Okay? And the animals entering those are 2 by 2, those are the chromosomes. Those are the chromosomes, okay? Understand that. Because way back a long time ago, there was Enlil and Enki. And Enlil is Jehovah and Enki is Lucifer. Okay? They're Prometheus. So understand that. And they were brothers, and they fought an atomic war, and that's why that area in the northern Africa, in that area is a desert like that, because they fought an atomic war there, or maybe it's weapons worse than atomic warfare. Okay? It's already been done. And the eagle is Enlil or Jehovah, and the snake is Enki or Lucifer or Satan. Okay? Understand that. Now, the eagle picks up the snake, but also they were brothers. And understand that the rebel is also, it's always symbolized by the snake. That Lucifer is the rebel, always symbolized by the snake. Like in that Spartacus TV series, where you have a snake on Spartacus's armor, but yet Rome has the eagle. Okay? So whenever you see a eagle, that is Enlil. That is Jehovah Enlil. That is the empire. And then the rebels are, whenever you see a snake, that is the rebel forces. That is Lucifer That is Satan, as Lucifer, Enki. Remember, they were brothers, and their father was Anu. Okay? Okay. So, join us again next time.